everybody, and welcome to That Wrestling Show, the podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And this week is truly no exception, because it is WrestleMania weekend. This is it. The biggest wrestling weekend of the year has arrived. WrestleMania 37 taking place this Friday not Fridays, pardon me. I'm excited. This Saturday and Sunday night in Raymond James Stadium. We'll be talking about everything that's going to happen at WrestleMania a little later on. Give you guys my predictions as far as all the matches that are going to take place. Plus, going to be talking about the WWE Hall of Fame. Some added inductees were announced since our previous episode last Friday when I went through the class of 2021. Plus some wrestling news and more. So, let's begin with the WWE Hall of Fame. The class of 2020 and 2021 were both inducted. It aired this past Tuesday night on Peacock. I have not seen it, and I don't know if I want to see it, because the speeches I read were put to 5 minutes, so I don't know if I'm ever going to watch them or not. So even if I did, I probably won't say it on here. So alright, so when I did this show last week with the WWE Hall of Fame, we knew the class of 2021 as far as the individuals go. We didn't know the legacy wing, and we were surprised to find out that we had another celebrity inducted and another recipient of the Warrior Award. So I'm going to go to the class of 2020 because they had their legacy wing inductees, and these are some pretty good people that they put in for 2020. It was Ray the Crippler Stevens, Brickhouse Brown, Dr. Death Steve Williams, Baron Michelle Leone, and Gary Hart were the inductees into the legacy wing of the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, the celebrity wing got a new inductee into the class of 2021, and it was none other than Ozzy Osbourne. I'm sure some people are wondering, well, how did Ozzy get into the WWE Hall of Fame? Well, basically, if you're a celebrity, you basically will be put into the WWE Hall of Fame. No, in all seriousness, he participated in WrestleMania 2. He was in the corner of the British Bulldogs for the tag title match. He had a musical performance on SmackDown probably like 10, 15 years ago, I want to say. And then he was a guest host on Monday Night Raw when they did the guest host era of Raw. So, you know what? I got no problems. There are some celebrities where I scratch my head and wonder why are they going in, but with Ozzy, I'm okay with it. The recipient of the Warrior Award for the class of 2021 was Rich Herring, who has been working for WWE for 50 plus years. Fantastic. Finally, the award used for the right purpose. And then the legacy wing for the class of 2021 includes Dick the Bruiser, Pistol Pez Watley, Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, Ethel Johnson, and promoter Paul Bosch. And that one, I'll say this, that one kind of surprises me because they don't really put many promoters of other organizations or territories into their Hall of Fame. But I'm glad to see a guy like Paul Bosch, who was a big part of he was the Houston territory for close to 50 years, be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in the legacy wing. So, I'm going to stick with that B grade from last week for the class of 2021, even with the additions involved. So, and of course, next year, going to be in Dallas. I wonder who's going to get inducted there next year. Undertaker. So, be interesting to see how things turn out next year, where they probably will have a crowd for the class of 2022. Alright, let's get into some other wrestling news. It was this week the final battle in the Wednesday Night Wars between NXT and AEW, and in the end, NXT won the last battle of the war. They had more viewers than NXT did for the first time in quite a while, actually. I think it was they had 778,000 viewers, and AEW had 678,000. So, 100,000 more, and I think part of that is because of the card that they had for the first night of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver, which aired on both Peacock and the USA Network. So that definitely played a role into that. So I think the best way to put this is NXT went out on a high note on the quote-unquote Wednesday Night War, or AEW basically dominated that whole thing, and now NXT is on the Tuesdays, and AEW is going to stay on Wednesday nights, and hopefully everything will be peaceful in the world of professional wrestling as far as fans go. Well, if there's one thing I've learned being a wrestling fan for over 30 plus years, it is that when a new belt design is presented for the first time in any promotion, 9 times out of 10, whoever gets that belt first loses the title in their next defense. That is what happened this past Sunday in Japan, where Kota Ibushi made officially his first title defense of the brand new IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and lost the title to Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, the brand new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So after, the match was over, Shingo came out and challenged Ospreay for a title shot, and Okada came out to challenge Ospreay for a title shot. So we are going to get, in the next few weeks, Will Ospreay Shingo, and then whoever wins that match will defend that belt against Okada May the 29th in the Tokyo Dome. A lot of big things happening in New Japan. And you know what? I gotta say, I was a little surprised that Ospreay won the title. But then again, I have to go back to what I said. When you have a new version of a belt presented, like we did here with the IWGP World Heavyweight title, you should just think in the back of your head, there's a good chance that person's going to lose the title on the first defense of the new belt design. And that's exactly what happened here. So just keep that in mind for future reference when we, when we have more belt designs, more changes there. I want to pass along a sad note in the wrestling world. Jack Veneno passed away this week at the age of 79 years old in the Dominican Republic. Now, some of you are probably wondering, who is Jack Veneno? Others might have heard of his name. Well, he is known as the biggest wrestling star ever in the country of the Dominican Republic. But he's also known for a title change that happened in one country but was not recognized in another country. So I have to explain this story for those that have never heard the story. This is actually in Ric Flair's autobiography, To Be the Man. So, Ric Flair, when he was NWA World Heavyweight Champion, made a tour of, the islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic obviously being one of them. And on this one particular night, September 7th, 1982, he defended the NWA World Heavyweight title against Jack Veneno in Santo Domingo, in the Dominican Republic. The match ends with Veneno putting a sleeper on Ric Flair. So the ref raises the arm, goes once, goes a second time, and as the referee raises the third arm, or the arm for the third time, pardon me, the bell rings. And the fans think that Veneno has won the World Heavyweight Championship. That, like, their guy, their hero, won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. This would be the equivalent to if El Santo was a heavyweight and he won the NWA World Heavyweight title in Mexico. That is what the equivalent to that would be. Or when Giant Baba beat Harley Race for the first time to become the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. It was that big of a deal. So the fans think Veneno won the title. However, in the United States, it was never recognized. It was not recognized by the NWA. So, Ric Flair in the book stated that he told Veneno, beat me, for the fear that if Flair won, there'd be a riot and Flair might not have made it out alive out of the Dominican Republic. Eventually, Veneno had to surrender the belt back to Flair due to not being willing to leave the country to defend the NWA World Heavyweight title. He did retire from professional wrestling in 2000, and I'm going to go through his championship accomplishments in a minute, but I do want to mention this and another political thing. I see if wrestlers get into politics. In 2007, a trailer for a documentary featuring the lost footage of the match with him and Ric Flair aired through the Dominican Republic, but was not released at that time. In April 2015, the documentary was finally released on the internet for free and shows the only footage known to exist of the famous match. The film, Jack, La Historia de Jack Veneno, features Jack and others discussing his career in life. The film was produced by Benjamin Irish, a protege of Veneno, and is widely attributed to Veneno's resurgence of celebrity in the country after 2007. Veneno ran for mayor of Santo Domingo Norte, one of the Santo Domingo province municipalities, on the 2006 congressional and municipal elections with the institutional Social Democratic Bloc Party. In 2007, he was appointed by the President of the Dominican Republic, Leonel Fernandez, as the Vice Minister of Sports. Jack Veneno, during his career, besides the, I guess you could say, phantom title change, in Puerto Rico in the World Wrestling Council, he was a co-holder of the North American Tag Team titles with Jose Rivera. I don't know if it's Jose Luis Rivera, Ruben. I'm just saying Jose Rivera. For Dominicana de Espectáculos, He was a 6-time light heavyweight champion, 2-time intercontinental heavyweight champion, and a 7-time co-holder of the World Tag Team titles, twice with Pulmo de Hierro, twice with El Caballero Negro, along with 3 other times Mr. Haiti, Maravilla, and Rafi Sanchez. And then in the Dominican Wrestling Federation, he was a co-holder of the Caribbean Tag Team titles with Relampago Hernandez, 6-time Dominican Republic Heavyweight Champion and National Welterweight Champion. And like I mentioned, served as the Vice Minister of Sports from 2007 to 2012. Veneno passed away on April the 6th from pancreatic cancer, which had really gotten into his lungs and just messed him up completely. He was 78 years old. Well, you know, with this being WrestleMania weekend, a lot of activities going on. WrestleCon, amazingly, is running this weekend. It kind of still surprises me that they are doing that this weekend. But also, there are a lot of independent wrestling shows. Independent Wrestling TV, they have a bunch of wrestling shows run this weekend down in Tampa. And also, GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, they have the Collective, which is a bunch of different wrestling shows right in Tampa, and from what I've heard so far, it's been pretty successful. They're both going to go all the way until tomorrow. I do know that for sure, with ICW No Holds Barred being ran at the same time as WrestleMania. So if WrestleMania just does not do it for you, go subscribe to independentwrestling.tv or IWTV, and you can get a year subscription for $100. It is worth the price. Believe me, it really, really is. Also want to talk about NXT Takeover Stand Up and Deliver. It was 2 nights, and you know, I have to say, this was the first time in a long time where I watched I watched the Thursday show, because Wednesday was just a bad night, because I had that, you have Dynamite, and you have The Masked Singer, which, oh, by the way, Nick Cannon was eliminated this week, but he's back as the host of the show next week. But I did catch the last 3 matches of night 1, which was Walter and Tommaso Ciampa, which was a very good match. That was so fun to watch. The triple threat match for the NXT Tag Team titles, I wished I had seen a little bit more of that match, but that match, from what I saw, was really good. And a lot of people were talking about how great of a match that was, so I'm going to try to catch that in the near future. And then the main event, Raquel Gonzalez winning the NXT Women's title from Io Shirai, was a really good match. Shirai, honestly, hands down, is in my top 5 of the best women's wrestlers in the world today, bar none. It doesn't matter if they're wrestling in the US, Japan, Mexico, Europe. Io Shirai is in the top 5 for me of the best women's wrestlers going today in professional wrestling. And Raquel Gonzalez is someone who has improved tremendously over time. You know, she had the height, she had the build. It just takes time when, you know, you're developing someone, and she has developed into this believable, I guess we could say monster, if you want to call her a monster. But, you know, she's this, honestly, this believable, tall woman who could kick your ass and could be champion for a long time. And the way she won it, I really liked. It was no cheating. Dakota Kai tried to get involved in the match. She got kicked out, but it ended up being Io and Raquel, and they just did a tremendous job the rest of the way. I was really, really impressed by both women. Now, night 2, on the other hand, this felt weird until about towards the end. The ladder match was good. It could have been a little bit better. Not saying that, one ruined it, because both did the best they could, but it could have been a little better. The women's tag title match was what it was, so I can't really say anything bad about it. North American title, Bronson Reed kind of bought me into believing he was going to win the North American title, and that's a big dude to be moving the way he was. It really, really is. I mean, I kind of can't wait to see what he can do in the future. I kind of want to see a little more of Bronson Reed. And then you had the two main events, Finn Balor and Karrion Kross for the NXT title. I enjoyed this match. I thought it was a good physical match, and what made it a little different, but it was a good different, was how Balor was the one that was dominating the match. Not Kross. It was Balor that was dominating the match. Because he'd go for the shoulder, he'd go to the arm, he'd go to the short ribs, the liver, the kidney. And, Kross was selling it. And he did a pretty good job the way he was selling it. And, Kross with the forearms in the end, basically knocking Finn Balor out to win back the NXT title was pretty impressive. And a note to mention, Karrion Kross, this is his second reign. Technically, this is his second reign. He's only the fourth man in NXT history to have won the NXT title twice. The other three, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Finn Balor. But then you got to talk about the main event. The main event of that night, and maybe the match of WrestleMania weekend. Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in an unsanctioned match. Oh, that was so fun to watch. It really, really was. These guys put everything they had into this match, and it showed, it delivered. This was by far the best match of night 2 of Stand Up and Deliver. And there were some people saying this should have been on WrestleMania. I don't know if I agree with that statement, because you're talking about two guys from NXT, and this is no disrespect to NXT, taking a spot away from a couple people on the biggest show of the year. Just saying. But it was just so good. And, they went through the entranceway, the platform, and it just looked so good. And I didn't realize until I'm looking at this now on Meltzer's thing, it went 40 minutes. And that's the thing. That's the positive that I saw a little bit in night 2 of TakeOver. Because again, I didn't really see much of night 1. But of night 2, they gave each match time. They gave them time. Like the Cruiser 16 minutes. NXT title match, 17 minutes. The final match went 40. So, you can't say that they didn't get time. They got time. But, and again, I'm watching this as a fan. I'm not reviewing this. So, you guys aren't going to get grades from me from this. Because I actually wanted to watch this as a fan. But as I was going back, to watching the final 3 matches of night 1 of TakeOver, and all of night 2, there was something that popped into my head that I thought about when you compared the 2 shows. That first show basically featured younger talent. It's like these people, with the exception of Ciampa, because he's been there for like 5 years, I think, at this point. These people are the future of NXT. If they can get their stuff together, and be what they were before they went on USA Network, this is a product that I'd watch every week. It really is. And then, when you go to night 2 of TakeOver, with the exception of the first 2 matches on that show, I'm like, these guys need to be going to the main card. They need to go to the main roster. Like, I'm ready for Gargano to go. I'm ready for Balor to go back. I'm ready for Adam Cole to be on the main roster. I'm ready for Kyle O'Reilly to be on the main roster. And that kind of scares me in a way that the first night you have this big positive in that you potentially saw the future of NXT in night 1. And you did a little bit in night 2. But with night 2, like, there are times where I was like, how much longer can this person be on NXT? I mean, some of these people are going to have to go to Raw or to SmackDown at some point. They can't stay at NXT forever. And I think with Io Shirai, I think she's going to get called up real soon. I really do. And I hope they put her on SmackDown, because she would be so good for the SmackDown women's division. Because Raw has Asuka. Put Io on SmackDown. Keep the 2 of them away for at least 9 months to a year. Have the build for Asuka and Io Shirai. My God, what a match that would be. And then, with Gargano, it's like the whole thing with the way, and I'm like, it's gotten old by this point. I'm kind of ready for this to end. And then with Finn Balor, I mean, no disrespect to the guy. I think he's a great wrestler, but if he can be called back up and be put in a right position, a right situation, I think he'd go. I really think he would. And then with Cole and O'Reilly, I just think it's time, especially for Adam Cole. I mean, he has everything that you would want in a star in WWE. He's got it. He is the 5-tool player. He is ready to go. I don't know what the wait is. Is it they're going to wait for, like spring cleaning part 2, Black Wednesday part 2? I don't know. I really don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And then you have NXT starting on Tuesday nights. So there's no competition there because Impact moved to Thursdays. I know it's a lot, folks. It's a lot, but stay with me. I just, let's see what happens these next few weeks with NXT. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they can make the right turn, the right move, and get back into the position where they were of, this is one of the best shows on TV week in and week out. Let's see it happen. Whew. And then Also, just want to add, Chris Jericho going on to the Stone Cold show, WrestleMania Sunday night. That's actually pretty awesome. I don't know if I'm going to really watch it, but that's going to be a sight to see. I'm sure people are going crazy, going like, "Oh my God, Jericho's on WWE, but he's at AEW." Ah! So we're gonna get that. We are gonna we're gonna get that. We really are. Okay, so now that we've gone through that, there's only one thing left to do at this point, and that is talk about WrestleMania 37. This is arguably the biggest show of the year. Let's just say it as it is. This is arguably the biggest show of the year in professional wrestling. And this is going to be WWE's first show in over a year with a live crowd. Obviously, it's not going to be full capacity, but it's going to be interesting to see how it is. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each match and I'm going to give you my picks. I'm going to give you my prediction as to who will win those matches this Saturday and Sunday at WrestleMania. Or as it is on Peacock going to be after this weekend, WrestleMania Season 37. Don't believe me? Go to Peacock. Pause the show now. Go to Peacock. Look up a pay-per-view. Doesn't matter what pay-per-view it is. They have it as seasons. Not lying. Okay, so the first match we're going to talk about is the Tag Team Turmoil match, where the winners of that match will face Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax on night 2 of WrestleMania. So here are the 4 teams that are going to be competing in this match. Naomi and Lana, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, the Riot Squad, Natalya, and Tamina. Those are the teams involved. I'm going to say... See, here's the thing with this WrestleMania. There's at least one match that I'm like 1,000% certain is going to happen. Like the winner. Everything else, I'm not so sure about. So here, I think it's going to be Naomi and Lana that win this match. I think they will win the Turmoil match, and then they will go to Sunday. They will face Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and I think Naomi and Lana are going to win the women's tag team titles. It seems like they've been kind of building towards that for some time, especially with the whole Lana story going back from the fall. So I think Naomi and Lana are going to win the Tag Team Turmoil match, and they're going to win the women's tag team titles on Sunday night. Next match is Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn. This is going to be a phenomenal match. I know Logan Paul's going to be in the corner of Sami Zayn or something. I think KO is going to win the match, but Sami Zayn needs the win a lot more than KO. Intercontinental Championship is on the line. Big E will defend the title against Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight. No, you did not hear that wrong. A Nigerian drum fight. Well, I think Apollo Crews is going to win the Intercontinental title. And who knows, maybe he has a decent heel run as Intercontinental Champion. Remain to be seen. This next match is going to be a very interesting match. Cesaro against Seth Rollins. This is Cesaro's first singles match at a WrestleMania. Seth Rollins has been a veteran of WrestleMania, has been in big matches before. This is going to be a very good match. This is one of those underrated matches that I think could be a sleeper for the match of WrestleMania weekend for Saturday and Sunday. I think Seth is going to win this match. I can't see this feud ending here. Seth, I think, is going to take the win here. United States Championship is on the line. Riddle will defend against Sheamus. You know what? Sheamus has been so good lately. He really has. I think he's going to win a U.S. title. I really do. I think he's earned it. He's had a series of good matches with Drew McIntyre. A series of good matches with Keith Lee. I think Sheamus is going to win the U.S. title. For only the second time in WrestleMania history, a steel cage match will take place at WrestleMania. Braun Strowman will take on Shane McMahon. I want Braun to win, but I think it's going to be Shane McMahon. I really do. I think Shane's going to win this match. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. This is the tag match. It was originally a singles match. Now it's a tag match. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest are going to face The Miz and John Morrison. This is not the one that I'm 1,000% sure is going to happen, but I'm almost in a confidence mode that Bad Bunny and Damian Priest are going to get the win over Miz and Morrison. The Raw Women's Championship is on the line. Asuka will defend against Rhea Ripley. And for a while, I thought, alright, Rhea Ripley's going to win the Raw Women's title. And then they announced on Raw that her theme song will be performed live at WrestleMania. Which usually means if someone's theme gets performed live at a pay-per-view, they lose. Asuka will retain the Raw Women's title. The Fiend will wrestle Randy Orton, and this is where I am 1,000% sure Bray Wyatt is going to win that match. The Raw Tag Team Championship will be defended. The New Day, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods will defend the titles against AJ Styles and Omos. This is actually one of the matches I'm kind of looking forward to at WrestleMania, just to see how Omos does in the ring. The build has actually been kind of decent going to this match. And I think we're going to get new tag team champions. I think AJ Styles and Omos will win the Raw tag team titles. Now, this match that I'm going to talk about next has been confirmed today as the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania 37. Sasha Banks will defend the SmackDown Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. This match has the potential, and if you didn't listen to the previous WWE Free, which I recommend you guys check out, we talked about this match and how there's the potential that this match can be good. This match can deliver. It's just, will it? I hope it does. Because this is a big moment here. And I want to say why this is a big moment. A number of reasons. The first reason is, this is the second women's match to headline any portion of WrestleMania. If it's one night or two nights, it doesn't matter. This is a big deal. So we will have, in a 3-year period, 2 women's matches headline a WrestleMania. The second thing that is big, this is big what I'm about to say. This is the first WrestleMania main event where 2 people, 2 women, 2 men, 2 aliens, 2 stuffed toys. I don't know. This is the first main event where 2 people that are African American are going to main event at WrestleMania. That is huge. And the third, and probably the final thing that makes this so big is this could be a passing of the torch kind of match. This could be the match where the torch is passed from someone who has been a top star for about 5-6 years to the next in line. And I think Bianca Belair will win the SmackDown Women's title this Saturday, as it is, like I said, the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania. We also will have the WWE Championship on the line. Drew McIntyre will challenge the champion Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley going to make history at WrestleMania. First African-American pro wrestler to go into WrestleMania as the WWE Champion. Will he leave WrestleMania as the WWE Champion? I would love for that to happen, but I got a feeling they're going to put the belt back on Drew. Not saying that Drew doesn't deserve the title, because I think he's been a very good champion, but Bobby Lashley's been on the run of his life, and I think he should have the title a little bit longer, but I'm going to say Drew is going to win and win back the WWE title. And the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania, it is a triple threat match for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns will defend the Universal Championship against the 2021 Men's Royal Rumble winner, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. This is the toughest one to pick. This really is the toughest one to pick. To me, it comes down to Reigns and Edge. I have no idea who to pick in this one, because there's so many thoughts running on this match. If Roman Reigns wins this match, he continues this incredible heel run as the Universal Champion. If Edge wins, this completes the 10-year arc of Edge never lost the World Heavyweight title. He had to surrender the World Heavyweight title after WrestleMania 27. He had to retire. But let's not forget about the wild card, Daniel Bryan. He's been in big matches before, and he normally delivers. So this is going to be a very interesting match. Here's what I think will happen. Edge will win the match. He will beat Daniel Bryan. Roman Reigns will not be in the fall to lose the Universal title. It's very possible. It could happen. We'll just wait and see what happens this Saturday and Sunday at WrestleMania 37. Well, on that note, that's going to wrap it up for the show this week. But before I leave, let's get into the plugs. Questions or comments, send an email, wrestlingman@thatwrestlingshow.com. Don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at WrestlingShow11. Follow us on Instagram at That Wrestling Show. Join the Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show fan group. You type that in the search bar and you are right there. And if you don't find it, it's okay. I put the link in the description of each and every episode. And if you like what you heard here, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/That Wrestling Show, where you can pledge as much as $3. And for $3, you get a lot of great stuff, extra content that won't be heard anywhere else. Plus, you get first-hand reviews of pay-per-views within 24 hours after they happen. That is patreon.com/thatwrestlingshow. Now to plug some friends and there we go. Friends and podcasts you guys should check out, starting with our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast, Joe Murata and Michael Quinn. This week, they defend Mr. Fuji. Plus, it is week 4 of the Royal Flush of the worst WrestleMania main events. Plus, they review an episode of Continental Championship Wrestling. And, because I love these guys so much, they're the only ones that get this. If you sign up for their Patreon page, which is only $5 is the top, their bottom is $2, but if you sign up for the $5 tier, right now, you can listen to their review of the 1992 Survivor Series. It is out, up, and running on their Patreon page. That is our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast. Also, check out Greetings from Allentown with Peter Winson. He watches one episode of wrestling, this in his own unique way. This week, he watches an episode of All American Wrestling on the day of WrestleMania 9, April the 4th, 1993, which features an amazing star-studded match, Virgil versus the Giant Gonzalez. Oh boy. Can't wait to hear that review. That is on Greetings from Allentown. And check out Juice Pro Wrestling, where this week Juice, Brody, and Shredden are in full bloom. WrestleMania bloom, where they discuss WrestleMania 37, the WWE Hall of Fame, the Collective Remix, NWA Power, Warrior Wrestling Ice Cream Bars, maybe they can send me some, Retromania Wrestling New Japan, and much more. That is on Juice Pro Wrestling. Now, if you're looking for non-wrestling related podcasts, check out the Best Pick Podcast with Tom, John, and Jess, 3 people who watch each and every Academy Award-winning picture in no particular order. And this is the Best Picture winner, by the way. This week, they discussed the Best Picture winner of 1955, Marty. Pardon me. That is this week on the Best Pick Movie Podcast. Also, check out the Castle Vault, a chronological deep dive of Disney animated films powered by Disney Plus. This week, they discuss Cars 2. That is this week on the Castle Vault. Check out Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, where this week it is part 2 of their interview with Weird Al's best friend and confidant, Joel Miller. That is this week on Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. Also, check out Shark's Pond, a South Park podcast, where I discuss, review everything, each and every South Park episode. This week, it is the finale of the Imagination Land trilogy, so you will get to hear my thoughts not only on the third and final part of Imagination Land, but also you'll get my entire thoughts on the legacy of Imagination Land. And check out the brand spanking new podcast, Bill Learns Kingdom Hearts with Jim Boy Star and yours truly, where we discuss the video game Kingdom Hearts. This week, the episode is There's Something About Jane. That is this week on Bill Learns Kingdom Hearts. Alright, next week on this show, this is going to be a very loaded show because going to be looking back at both nights of WrestleMania 37. Going to talk about the Raw after WrestleMania. Going to talk about NXT. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be covered right here next week on That Wrestling Show. If you are attending WrestleMania 37 this weekend, have fun, be safe, listen to the protocols that they have put out for you, and be smart. Don't go into large groups. Stay where you are. Keep your masks on so that way we can get rid of the coronavirus and hopefully have WrestleMania 38 with a sold-out crowd. If you are not in Tampa for WrestleMania, have a wonderful weekend, have fun, enjoy WrestleMania, and when you're done and you have recovered from this weekend, come back here next week for another episode of That Wrestling Show, the podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as always, wrestle on.